Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Jedioshi. I'm your host Ramboshi, and today is Monday, January 3rd, 2022. Hope your new year is going well so far. We are zoomed in and looking at price action on the Bitcoin chart. We're going to take a look at a few things today. Wanted to swing by the daily first, and we'll look at kind of the bigger macro picture and some macro trends I wanted to show you. And then I wanted to point out a couple, an altcoin that you might know about, but you may also have never heard of it before. But I wanted to show you some interesting things, and I think it might be an opportunity for us in the near future. So let's dive in. We have price action in this range in this box. Let me zoom in on that. Let me go to the 1 hour. We're still in this range. I've painted this gray line down here, kind of thick, so that would cover some wicks. But we've been chopping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days here now in this box, in this right area off this kind of this fake out zone. And we'll see if we can hold this on the daily pivot level. We are below these old 2 candles here. So we're below that on the daily. This needs to close. We have a few hours to go. And we'll see if this holds. If this doesn't hold and we start breaking down, I think we can go down further, and I'll show you where here in a second. But on kind of the bigger picture, we did break above this line, the down line there. If you want to draw it, and there's a million ways you can draw this, right? But based on the Jedioshi system is based on RSI and trend lines. And we broke above it. It was kind of a fake out, or at least an intermediate local or short-term fake out. One idea is we may come down here and test this again for a retest. Let me pull up RSI and OBV too, but we are seeing a strengthened RSI, some divergence there. And we are also seeing a downtrend in OBV. OBV is basically, it's a running total, and it's a number based on the volume added to the previous number. So every day's number changes based on the daily volume number, and if it's red, it gets subtracted, and if it's green, it gets added. So it's a cumulative. Well, that's why they call it on balance volume. It's on balance. So it's the net sum of kind of this volume profile. So lately, I've been really looking at it and trying to apply it and to kind of roll it into the analysis. But what I want to see for the bulls to fully regain control and to take this forward is I want to see a couple things. One, we need to see RSI finally resolve and strengthen and be bullish. There's a couple of ways that can happen, in my opinion. One is, and I've talked about this before, but if we do break this line, this is a trend line, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. If we break this, we could be doing a higher high on RSI here, which would coincide with possibly a either retest of this trend line or a new low. So what you could have is a higher high on RSI coupled with a lower low on price, giving you classic bottom signal in my book, classic signal on the bottom where you have lower low, higher RSI, you then break your trend back, and then you go. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see that. The other thing, erase some of this stuff here. The other thing that I'm looking at is OBV. And what I'd like to see, and what we've seen in the past, is I want to see a trend change. We want to see green candles start adding up. So here, for example, back in summer, in July of 21, you had enough green candles to change your trend on OBV. And you had a strong RSI, but you had a trend change in OBV that was another signal. So it's just another signal, just another indicator to indicate who's in control. But the on balance volume, because what you've heard us talk about the last few days is there's just not much volume. And when these moves are on low volume, they're weak. And when it's weak, they can be taken over easily. So if we do get a flush on low volume, it can be taken over very easily. And the bulls could show up in big volume and say, okay, like say, for example, the bulls have some number out there. They say, I'm a big whale whatever. I sold out at 60. I'm not interested until we have maybe 40 again. If we get 40, I'm interested. So I'll show up at 40 because I'd like to drive it up. But the opportunity is not there for me at 45, 46. I'll wait. So they'll wait for their price point and then they get in. So I wouldn't be interested to see a low volume flush and then the bulls show up. OBV pops, RSI dips, then strengthens, then comes up here, and then we kind of go and we get our retrace back to that 702 level. So what would that look like here? And then whatever. Maybe we've done this before. Stop here, maybe a stop here, and maybe we don't quite get that 702 level. Maybe we just get to 0.5 because that's something that we'll have to be watching on. How strong is this? How strong is this recovery rally? If we get a recovery rally, we'll be watching trend charts, that sort of thing. Like back here, you'd be watching your trend, and you'd be drawing it, say like that, and then you say, okay, I have an established trend now. I do have a peak in RSI, and now, we are continuing to move up on lower RSI. So I'm careful, and then we break trend, and you break RSI trend. Those are some signals, and you get a final higher high and lower RSI, and then you break your trend, and that's your exit signal. So I think, or my expectation is that we see the same thing over here, and that is for the case that we do get a recovery. I know there are some scenarios out there that say that we need to go deep here, and we'll see. But I do expect us to get some sort of recovery rally. That's my base case, and we'll see what happens. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. That's all I wanted to show you on that kind of like a low time frame. Let's zoom in on just the 1 hour for now. We always do that. Let's look at the price action. It's been sideways chop. I think. We did this sort of on that gray area. This is that base level. Look, we break this. If this floor breaks significantly, then I think you could see some selling, and you could see some flush. So we'll keep watching that, obviously. But what we're watching for is a potential dip to buy deals down here, and then to trade a potential retrace up. Right. So let's go to kind of the bigger picture on the daily. I want to show you a couple things. One is is the RSI profile. We've already covered that a few times on the macro, where you have, this entire run here from 10 to 64 was on lower RSI. We broke down on the live stream. We looked at this fractal, which I think is also very interesting, and I want to zoom in on it in a second. Then this recovery was on pretty low volume, relatively. It wasn't a new gush. It wasn't a new push up. The bulls weren't strengthened. They were kind of recovering, and it ran to 69 on lower volume. And you can see that here on OBV, where you have a trend break here. You can chart these indicators. You can do whatever you want with them. I mean, I believe that, especially on the RSI, it's trendable, or it's chartable with trend lines and breaks and that sort of thing. And those are the basis for my signal. But when you look at like this break here, like that's a signal. You broke your RSI, was your highest high, lower RSI. You broke down your OBV trend. People are starting to sell. And then you got your 702. This is a 702 retrace. You got that. That's your get out signal right there. That's the signal. May 11th. It said, get out and grab your profits with the market will. Grab your gains with the market will. That's how it works. If you go to this trend, again, I painted this on the other chart, but really just want to see a kick up. And I think if we do kick that up, I think we get the recovery rally. So am I going to wait until, I don't know, we'll have to see on buying on buy side. Am I going to wait until we just get way down here? Or am I going to wait until I see an OBV slope that's positive? I've been thinking about that all day today. Do you want to catch a dip and expect that you'll get that relief rally? Or do you wait until you see the bulls show up, then you ride with them? It's up to you. Look at this. This is interesting to me. This fractal here, if we do a repeat, we had, I've done this a few times, but it was the first sell-off, kind of a flaggish area with a fake out, another dip. See, this dip right now is what I think we might get. And then a relief, but it was faded until you finally had the bull show up. If that fractal plays out, and I won't do the bars pattern because it takes a little bit of time to get it right, but I could see this with a relief rally, back down. We haven't really dipped hard yet, but we could do a dip, back up, it gets faded, and then we go like that. I would not be surprised if that's what January ends up looking like, is a dip. And maybe, you know, I drew it where that's a much higher high, but see this, it's not that significantly higher. It came down, this is where everybody was scared out of their minds, because it was, no, I bought this and then I didn't sell here, and then I didn't know what to do, and then we're going to go down again, and we broke MAs and all sorts of stuff. You know, and again, we have that same condition here because as we know, we closed the weekly last night and the weekly fell below the 50 MA. So that's a bearish signal. So three weeks in a row, right around the 50, the first week broke it. The second week recovered back on top of it. And this last week that closed yesterday closed below it. So we'll see what happens if the bulls can take it or not. So that's that. And we'll just see what happens. We are right around that 47, 45.7. Yep. We might see it happen right here. Let's zoom in one more time. I see this level right. I'd be looking at these wicks now. So earlier today, I'm looking at bodies, right? I'm looking at these pivot levels, these bottoms of these candles. See that level right here? How it was kind of, or it was honored, at least in the candle close. Watch. See that? That bottom was its first. That was the first time it put it in. It had no real body history before that at that level. Bounce, came back, found the floor again. This is support. So floor, back to floor. I have a theory that says that the more you attempt to break this down, the weaker it gets. And so yeah, it's not holding right now. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll have to see what the market brings us. Be ready for anything, guys. If you get down here, you can get some good deals on some of the alts we've been talking about on our list. And one other one that's not really on the list, but I did a Coinbase scroll through for you guys this morning. I finally got my Coinbase exchange list. And when you go through that, like say first thing in the morning or whatever, you wake up, you're scrolling through charts and just put it on the daily. If you're like, okay, AVAX is here, did that. Okay, FTM is leading. Look at that. CLR or CRV, sorry, CRV is doing that. And you get a gauge for what's going on in the market, because you'll scroll through 30 charts in a minute and you get a picture, and use that little arrow button on your app on your phone. I found that to be so handy when you just set it on the daily and you hit that arrow button and it just goes chart to chart to chart to chart. So the alt that I wanted to look at today that I'm interested in, I might want to pick this up, is called synthetics. Now, what is synthetics? Synthetics is a DEX. A DEX is a decentralized exchange. It's built on ERC, or it's built on Ethereum. It's an ERC20, and it's part of the DeFi system, or it's a DeFi protocol. And it's a DEX and a platform for synthetic assets. So other things about it, it has $762 million market cap. I kind of like that size, where it's pretty big, but it's not huge. It's under $1 billion, but it's more than half billion. You know, I do like things down to 100 million, and sometimes I'll go a lot lower, but I do like this for the size. But what I really like it for is a couple other things. Rank 117, so it's up there. It's top 200. It's an ERC20. You can probably get it on Uniswap or wherever. Not sure where else. Oh, Binance, OKEx, Coinbase Pro. That's where I saw it on the Coinbase listing, and then Uniswap. So a few different ways to get it and to trade it in and out. One of the things that struck me was this relative strength, and just really the last couple of days. And then also where it is in the chart. So, I like to buy things that have potential and not necessarily up at their 4236 and beyond. So if I look at this, and I'll take this latest price action here, but let's do that. Let's put a fib on that. So in the DeFi summer or whatever, no, early DeFi season in 2021, this thing ran from $2.45 up to $28. So it went over a 10x. So it had a nice run, a 10x. Look at the volume then, and look at this volume now. Like, that speaks to me. It's being traded or accumulated. One of the things that the first thing I looked at when I saw this was, look at this. If this breaks, this reminded me a lot of like CRV. If this breaks, could get good, because when I'm breaking this trend in RSI, I have a good chance at starting a higher or a new trend. So that this could actually, this poking above and then coming back and then running at it again. It looks like a lot of the recovery coins, but it does look at, and then again, the volume today was pretty significant. Let's zoom in on that. See this RSI poke above this old trend. I like that. That's a good signal for me. I also like FTM, when we were talking about it in the chat, and it was like somebody liked it at 150. I'm like, man, that looks good. This looks just like that. Look at that. This is what FTM looked like. And we're going to look at FTM in a second. But this is what FTM looks like at $1.50. It was just breaking this, making a higher high. RSI was popping. And then look, my new indicator that I have on my screen, OBV, is up. It's being accumulated, obviously, because of all the green candles, right? But it's, look at the strength. It's because of the size of the candle that you get this angle, because OBV is just adding the volume if green, subtracting the volume if red. So the bigger the candle, the bigger the move on our OBV. So I like this. It looks good. I think it's a good project in the DeFi space. Good market cap. Seems, it's on Coinbase, it's on Binance, it's highly traded. I'm not sure if I'm going to honor this wick or not, but let's do a little bit of math. If we take a fib and just draw it like from this top wick here to the bottom, and let's just say that maybe you don't get up there, but from here to old high, or that'd be all-time high, I'm pretty sure, is a 3.5x. From here to, let's say, the 618 is 1.9x, and the 702 is about 2.2x. So I like the potential. I like what I see. I like the setup. I like the chart. You're breaking up. Bulls are showing strength here. RSI is popping. You're getting a nice signal on OBV thanks to the volume coming in. So I think this thing has a lot going for it. Let me see this. Yeah. See this trend line right here? I did wick to wick. Let's like ultimately trade all the price action. This could break and go, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin breaks down, then it could wreck a lot of charts and drive a lot of things down. But if that happens, the whole point of this is I'm looking for leaders now. I'm looking for leaders in the last, say, 2 or 3 weeks. The strength and the coins that are getting liquidity now, I believe, will be the coins that will get liquidity when Bitcoin does recover. So when Bitcoin drops, or if Bitcoin drops and recovers, I'm looking for the leaders to trade with and to be with, versus betting on, a coin that hasn't really done much. So that's a strategy decision. And I know a lot of people are betting on kind of the classics. There's either, we'll go over something in the next video, maybe on another alt that I like, but hasn't had volume lately. And the expectation there on that strategy, in getting with some of the classics, if you will, is that liquidity is going to come. But if my system, or the way I look at things, my strategy is I want to see this volume coming my way, earlier. Then I say, okay, I have a little more confidence that this thing will run sooner, versus just buying and holding and waiting. So that's that. Let's look at Bitcoin one last time. And I think this will be kind of a quick video for today, but definitely an interesting day. Oh, that's my, look at all my alerts. I'm ready. I was going to get lit up soon. Let's see, we're on Coinbase, I think. Yep. Interesting how this to me looks a lot like that. And I wonder if we get one of these before we get a relief rally. A couple other things I want to show you guys. One, this correction back to here before it corrected again did not get to 702, 618. The other thing, show you something. And you can zoom in on your charts, but look at this. What I found back in 2018. Now this is daily. But look at this. Do you see this correction off the top? Down, back up, fake out, roll over, bulls take it back up. There it is. I found that when I saw that, I was like, that's exactly, that looks, I mean, granted the time's different, but I think this market to me moves, it's almost like a weekly candle today is like a daily candle was back last cycle because of the whatever size of the market, participants, all that. Just moves slower. Everything's slower. We don't have momentum right now. You look at all the things we're moving fast both ways, and now it's just kind of grind. It just grinds and grinds and grinds. But look, 2017, 2018, 702 right here. But remember, this is so important. But remember, bulls were hot. The bulls were running hard here. So when they bounced, they had the energy to bounce back to the 702. That's why it came above that. That's why 702 exists, because in bull trends, when they're strong, when they make a second attempt, they over exceed that 618. If they're weaker, I believe they will be sub 618, which is why I look at the 0.5 as a possibility. They just don't have they're not at running speed. They get up to here and done, a rollover. So that's what I'm expecting, but wanted to show you that interesting fractal from the end of the 2017 bull run and how interesting our pattern, at least at this bottom point, but how interesting this is. Granted, the time's different, but it's a really neat fractal. And that is all I had. Let's keep, we'll keep watching and we'll keep in touch, and have a great Monday and enjoy this video. Thanks. Bye.